We are now on mission 6, which is the accident avoidance mission. In order to set this mission up, we are here on the north side of the table, right next to the switch engine. There are two parts of this model that move. The orange-yellow platform piece, called the yellow panel, moves, and then this black part of the model moves as well. In order to be considered set up, the black piece is upright, and the yellow panel is also upright. So there's a gap here between them versus the yellow panel being against the black. So make sure it's set up in the correct starting configuration. So this one is interesting because this has a couple of scoring conditions. This blue line here on the field also factors in. So if I were to take a robot, so I will grab an EV3 for handy demonstration. Here is my EV3. It could be a Spike Prime, but you can earn points if your robot is parked over the blue accident avoidance line. So here is fine. If I had an attachment on my robot and the attachment was jutting out, remember that counts as part of my robot, so that would be over the line, so no worries there. Hey, if I'm parked like that, I get 20 points. If I also knock down the yellow panel, then instead of 20 points, I earn 30 points. However, if the whole thing is knocked over, I don't score any points. So you only can earn points if the black part of the model is still upright. If it's knocked over, you cannot earn any points. So if you're over the blue line, it's worth 20. If you are over the blue line and the yellow panel is knocked down, it's worth 30 instead of 20. It's not an additional 30 points. And this mission is a really important one to talk about for a few reasons. One reason is Rule 22, the rule that says that all missions are scored at the end of the match. That's your end of match scoring rule. This says the robot has to be parked on the blue line at the end of the match, which means if the match has not ended, if your robot goes here and parks, and then you go pick up the robot, and you've got this knocked over like this, you don't earn any points. The robot has to be parked over the blue line at the end of the match, not when you're done doing your missions. That's a distinction. The other rules that become important here are actually rules 15 and rule 16, defining interruption. And the really, really important thing here, I'll try to find it and highlight it quickly for myself, is in Rule 15 for interruption. The third bullet point says, do not use exact perfect timing of an interruption as a strategy to produce a new scoring result or advantage. So here's an example of how I see this playing through. Let's say that your team is watching the robot move, and as soon as the robot gets over the blue line, you reach your hand in and stop the robot. That counts as an interruption, and that interruption qualifies under this third bullet point here. And it is because you are using an interruption to get the scoring condition. Now, if the robot was doing this and just kind of run into the wall and I stop it, that's fine. I'm not messing with a scoring condition. But if I'm trying to time it right here and stop it just in time, that counts as producing a new scoring result or an advantage. Because of that, you would not score any points. So using an interruption to make this mission work will actually cost you the points you could have scored. So that's a really important rule to pay attention to for this mission. It could come up in other missions, but this mission is a really good example of how this rule can apply. So Rule 15 is defining why that won't score any points. Rule 16 defines a little bit more about the scoring procedure here. So in Rule 16, we have the end of match exception where you say you stop the robot at the end of the match is okay. That rule plays with Rule 15 here. So this is kind of like saying Rule 16 applies, except in this case, then Rule 15 applies. All you need to know, I think, for this mission is that if you have to stop the robot by hand to get this mission to work, you're not going to get the points. Is the long and short of it, and what you need to take away from this rule on this mission. If you want to get points for this mission, you need to make sure the robot can stop on its own without any interference from you, and you need to make sure that you don't move the robot from its position when this mission is completed. Otherwise, you may not get the points either. But that's accident avoidance, and that mission again is worth either 20 or 30 points. Remember, if it's knocked down, you don't earn any points, and if you have to manually interrupt the robot to get the mission to work, you don't earn any points.